Hey, how come my penis gets big sometimes and points up in the air?
That's called an erection.
Sometimes I touch my penis because it feels good.
This, I think, is the single creepiest thing I've ever seen. So right now, Dalton School, which is a very posh private school, $55,000 a year to attend, the Dalton School has been caught teaching little kids to pleasure themselves. So it's not even just the broader ideology of LGBT and the sexual revolution. It's actually instructing them that it is good to pleasure themselves. So that the director of health and wellness, Justine Ang Fonte, at the Dalton School, is now being reported by the New York Post, instructing 6-year-olds during her sex ed class to touch themselves because it feels good. There's a slight viewer discretion pushed here. You know, I would say maybe if you got kids watching right now, maybe lower the volume for about 60 seconds or, skip 1, 2 on there, because this is really, really creepy stuff. I almost didn't play it, except I think it's important to hear what is being taught in first grade classrooms now, all in the name of the sexual revolution.
Hey, how come my penis gets big sometimes and points up in the air?
That's called an erection.
Sometimes I touch my penis because it feels good.
Sometimes when I'm in my bath or when Mom puts me to bed, I like to touch my vulva too.
You have a clitoris there, Kayla, that probably feels good to touch the same way Keith's penis feels good when he touches it. But have you ever noticed that older kids and grown-ups don't touch their private parts in public?
They don't?
That's right, Keith. It's okay to touch yourself and see how different body parts feel, but it's best to only do it in private.
Well, if private parts are so special, why do you cover them up?
Because they are private, silly.
That's right, Kayla, because they are private.
This, I think, is the single creepiest thing I've ever seen. I don't think that's an exaggeration. You've got these little cartoon kitty voices talking about sex, and as Woody Allen says, sex with someone you love, right? Sex in the privacy of your own room. And then this teacher saying, well, it's good, it's okay. It's totally fine to do that in private, but you don't always want to do that in public. Now, this is part of the sex ed class at Dalton. The reason I even play it is not just how shocking and creepy it is, but it's to show what this is really about. Because the education that's being conveyed in this video is not just sexual education. There's a little bit of sexual education. Here's this body part, here's this body part. But it goes much further than that. It's morality education. It's religious education. Because what this woman is saying is, look, given the laws of our society, it's not okay to do these sorts of things in public. But it's perfectly okay to do these sorts of things in private. That's a moral teaching. That's a religious teaching. That's not the Christian understanding of it. The Christian teaching is it's not okay to do that in private. Jewish understanding, as far as I know, I'm no expert, not okay to do. Muslim understanding, it's not okay to do that in private. But the leftist understanding is it is okay. It's actually good. You should be doing it. This goes back way, way far back. This goes back almost 100 years to theorists like Wilhelm Reich, very creepy sexual and political theorist who said that all the problems of the world from war to disease are caused by a lack of orgasms. Seriously. He had an orgone accumulator is what he called it. It was like an orgasm box where many very intelligent leftists bought these boxes and sat in them. I don't know what they did. I don't want to know what they did in those boxes. But these theories were very popular. Bernie Sanders adopted them in the 1960s. He wrote creepy essays about it that he published in the Vermont Freeman, I think the name is. I actually talk about this at some length in my upcoming book, Speechless, Controlling Words, Controlling Minds, available now for pre-order. You get a signed first edition at Premier Collectibles. There was a very creepy focus on the need to sexualize kids. And the reason is, if you really believe that sexual repression is the cause of all these problems in the world, then you can't wait until people embrace the oppression. You can't wait until people decide they are going to repress themselves. You've got to get them at their very youngest point. And so you've got to go into the schools and you've got to indoctrinate kids in this radical sexual ideology. It's creepy, it's pervy, but for the left, it serves a political purpose. So you got the left focusing on this really, really creepy sex stuff. And to give them their credit, it's not just because they're perverts. It does have a political purpose. ginning up lust, ginning up licentiousness, lecherousness, all this sort of stuff is designed to control you politically. And I know that sounds kind of conspiratorial, but it's actually a very basic principle. Free people cultivate their higher will and their intellect so they can control all of their base appetites. Unfree people, slavish people, just pursue their basest desires, whether that's for drugs, whether that's for sex, whether that's for any sort of base desire. The example I often use is the heroin addict. The heroin addict who just shoots up heroin all the time, according to the modern leftist view, seems very free because he can do whatever he wants and he can go shoot up and nobody's going to stop him. But we all know he's a slave. And this is true of all of our passions and our lusts, especially sexual ones, because it's a very big driver of human behavior, especially for dudes. So the left does have a vested interest in breaking down all these sorts of moral codes. And the Founding Fathers wrote about this, right? They said you should not abuse your liberty to licentiousness. He's very, very focused on that sort of thing. And the whole point of Pride Month, it's not even it's not about gay people really anymore, right? I mean, I guess that's part of it. But it's about all this sort of sexual stuff, which actually tends to have a much broader point now. This is religious education that people are being taught. It's a part of the liturgical calendar. I mean, you've got the religious, the Christian liturgical calendar. You've got months to the Sacred Heart of Jesus or the months to the Holy Family or what. And in the leftist calendar, you've got months to Pride. You've got months to women's history. You've got months to Black history, right? All these sorts of things. We are following these religious pathways. We're following these religious longings because man is fundamentally a religious being and all human conflict is theological. But some Republicans don't get that. Hold up. You know what I'm going to say. Do I even need to say it? You see it? It's right there. It's just that little ding, 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 ding. You just click it. You ring the bell. You like, you subscribe. You can also please head on over to the podcast apps, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, MySpace, LiveJournal, Xanga, I don't know, and subscribe to the show. Please leave a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. It helps us get past some of the suppression tactics of big tech. We'll see you next time.